a little patch just in front of us. A little patch just in front of us. Okay, and then off to the east. Oh, we're actually on the corner of it. There we go. That's the edge of that. Turn around. Follow the contours again. Right about there. Okay. Turn around, do it again. This way. Oh no, not straight that way. That looks about right. Here we are. Do the same on this side. And I'm just going to empty the tank now. We're done. Empty. Awesome. Okay. We'll call that good. We're going to get predominantly 35% across that field with a couple of patches of 15, 10, 10. The fence hasn't been cleaned since I bought it. This thing certainly picked up a load of dirt today. And we're going to have to get it out later when field 15 pops as well. Okay. Put this in with the seeder. I might grab the plough and put that in here as well. Eventually I want to pull the bales out of here. Okay, so that one's done. Go get the plough and put that in here. Probably shut the gate. And we can go and fetch all the bales. We might even sell some. Is not a tractor that should be hauling this plough. was it should be hauling it with a bigger weight. But then again, this is why you have yard tractors. To park the equipment better than the main field tractors can handle. Okay, we are done with that. So, let's go fetch some bales. Doing for okay, we've got enough fuel in here. Just past the workers' cottage. This side of the field's all hay. Looks like it's already started growing back. Yeah, missed one. Gonna take a couple of trips. And they turned off crop destruction on grass because obviously for the mower I'm using, it's a trailed mower. Fits to the back of the tractor rather than the front, so you have to drive on the grass in order to cut the grass. So they said that's not particularly fair, you know, to destroy the crop while you're harvesting it. So there we go. That's one set. Let's fold that up. So, I think I will put this in the shed by the sheep farm. Area, bit thing. What's this big shed on the right? I haven't looked in there. Can I look in there? Oh. You're getting it from this direction. There's a load of stuff in here. That would be easier if the door was on the other side. Where the cows go. There's a run through to the back. Sheep, potentially. And yeah, okay. About that, so I am going to. Do I put the bales in here? Or in the no, I'm going to put them in the shed with the door on the front. Though I might change my mind still. This one I can drive in and come back out again. We'll put them in here. I think I can drive in and then turn around. So the roof gets in the way. You can back the trailer onto it and fit 32. Oh yes, I have seen that done in Farm Sim 17. There's another nice thing about the IT runner set now. Here? Yes. I have an MAN and a Scania hook lift truck. But they're a little bit expensive at the moment. But that makes moving the IT modules around a lot easier. It's a lot easier to reverse a truck than it is to reverse a trailer. Two more. Let's get these two. Oops. It was a bit of a shame because I'd kind of assumed that since they were on the mod hub, I remember for Farm Sim 17 they gave us sort of on the mod hub there was a beta section. Basically anything that appeared in the beta section would never appear, or it was either under sort of general test, so everybody had a chance to test them on PC. But there were some mods that went onto the beta section that kind of stayed there. And I kind of assumed everything on the beta section is PC only. So things like John Deere tractors never made it onto the main mod hub. Under the tractors, they just ended up on... get the wheel going the right way. Okay. And because there wasn't a license for JD equipment, they stayed in the beta section and PC players could have them, but nobody else could. Press the right button eventually. Let's get back to the field. Let's wait. Let's go. Okay. This trailer doesn't take as long to reset as the square bale trailer. and on my Lawfolds playthrough I'm using the square bale, or just square baling in general, and I'm using the real fuel usage mod, which means when these trailers are in motion you pretty much can't move the tractor faster than 1 mile an hour. Because it's taking all the power to operate the machinery, whatever it is. Not sure exactly. I don't know that it's hydraulic. Oops. Get it easy. And the last one. We have a little patch of ground here that we could use for farmyard extension. But once again, we can't get these styles of buildings that's on the main farm in this area. We're limited to the mods that are available, and there are no mods in this general sort of Old English style build, or the sort of corrugated iron roof with half brick. Second set not particularly straight with the first set. Okay. Oops, no, I now need to turn. There we go. Now I need to look at the back. Get as close to the roof as we can and go until we see bales. Right there. Don't overlap them or they'll have an explosion, and we're good. No, and that yeah, correct. You won't see that, but they don't. Yeah, as I was in the middle of saying, they don't appear to have a beta section for Farm Sim 19. So we're having to wait until Giants finish testing before we get any access to mods on the mod hub. For Farm Sim 17 that wasn't quite the case. I think they'd do initial testing to make sure, yeah, this isn't going to completely hose the game. But we haven't had time to fully test the mod. But we'll let the PC people play with it. Then we could download them and mess around and, yeah, report any issues that were with them. Go and look for some of the dodgy mod sites that it was the other day I tried to download those 2 hook lift trucks and my antivirus went absolutely ape. Not having any of it. You're doing bad stuff, visiting bad places. So, oh, okay then. I won't get them right now. with stop and go braking. I prefer the function of it, but sometimes I'll sit there with my foot on the go backwards button because I have released it very slightly, but it still didn't register that you just applied the brakes from going forwards. Dancing bales. Forward a bit. There we go. That's close enough. Yeah, I'm waiting for Smetty to release his class Axion 940. I've used that quite a lot in Farm Sim 17. I like his work, but he only does the Axion and the Zerion. He doesn't do the Arians, which is a shame, because I kind of like to have access to some decent small class tractors. There was someone who did some Farm Sim 17 class Arian mods, but they weren't quite right. There were issues with them, and so I deleted them. I stuck with the 900 series. I got the 800 series downloaded, although I never actually used it. The problem with Lawfolds is I needed a big, over 300 horsepower tractor, and for that you needed the 900 series. I don't have the biggest engine on it, but I think it's the second largest engine that would fit, and it served me pretty much for the entire playthrough on that game. It was the first, when I started the game I sold about 90% of the starting equipment, and the starting equipment ranged from, I'm going to say, about 100 to 180 horsepower, and because I was using the real fuel usage mod, and Lawfolds is not a flat map by any stretch of the imagination. It kind of looks it, but some of those hills on the fields can be very deceiving, and so I figured I needed a 300 horsepower tractor just to operate a lot of the 200 horsepower equipment that I had. Yes. But consequently, I really didn't need the 800, which I believe is a sort of a low to high 200 horsepower tractor. I'm going to have to pull that forward, straighten up. I'll try that again. Around the back and watch the bales approach. Oh, dancing bales. Those front ones might be touching. They're definitely not now. Okay, what's that? 5 loads? I'm gonna have to get out of the count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 eighths of 40. Okay, we've got 40 hay bales. I think that should probably be sufficient for our needs, at least for today. And it's not like it takes long for grass to regrow, so I'll go and get about the same number of silage bales, I think. Oh, well, now the announcement I saw was that basically their next big event was at the class manufacturing plant, which kind of points to they are going to have class in the game. Although I don't think they've said explicitly, yes, class is going to be a DLC coming to Farm Sim 19. I very much doubt it's going to be a deal for as late as Farm Sim 21, because obviously why would you why would you have an event at the class manufacturing facility and say, hey, yeah, in 2 years' time we're going to have class in Farm Sim 21? That would be kind of crazy. So it kind of does look like it's pointing towards them being. I don't know that there's been an explicit, yeah, they're coming to Farm Sim 19. At least not at this point. I'm kind of expecting, I mentioned this yesterday, but I'm kind of expecting their release of DLC to be similar to the Farm Sim 17 release. So, sort of, come springtime, we may see our first set of DLC. And our first set of DLC last time was the Coon DLC, which was lots of farm equipment. Now, that may be an opportunity for them to release John Deere equipment, balers, cultivators, planters, that type of thing. Their second DLC was Big Bud, which came around summertime, and that was big tractors and big equipment. Potentially you could do that as a class DLC for 19. You could have tractors, what else do they have? Loading wagons, balers, the things with the windmills on, windrowers, that type of stuff. That would possibly make a good class release, with a lot of equipment at summertime. The other option could be, whatever they're going to call the Platinum release this year, which comes out about 12 months after Farm Sim 19 is released, and usually has a new map and a reasonable set of equipment, which, with the Platinum set, we got Estancia Lapacho and a bunch of Stara equipment, tractors, planters, seeders, cultivators, the big sprayer, Peridor, whatever it was. So that, forwards. If they're going to release class, I think we'll either see it at the summer or we'll see it with the sort of midlife map expansion. That's my predictions. I have no idea if that's what they're going to do or what. But I'm still going to use Smetty's class Axions, because I just happen to like them. a farm like this, I probably wouldn't need to use something like the Axiom 900 series. I could probably get away with the 800. We need to start heading back again. So, how much money have we got? We're still up to 330, 350, 330. Okay. Yeah, so the cash we're currently running on is the sale of the Fendt 1149 MT or whatever it is, the big tracked Fendt. A big cultivator that you needed the Fendt to run the cultivator, but that was pretty much it. And since the seeder doesn't need to be cultivated, or doesn't need the ground cultivated before you run the seeder over it, I figured there's absolutely no point keeping the cultivator. And then there was the wheeled sprayer, and I got rid of that too. Outside of that, we've kept all of the starting equipment, so that's quite a lot of money. I mean, you're talking about 300,000 for the tractor, another 80-90,000, maybe, yeah, 80-90,000 for both the sprayer and the cultivator. And with that, I've bought this little Fendt, and I'm thinking I probably should have bought a bigger tractor, but well, too late now. And all of the well, they gave us the mower to start off with, but we had nothing to do bales, we had nothing to pick up grass, which kind of a problem. You know, why give me a mower and then don't give me a way to pick up what I mow? Either a loading wagon or a baler, I don't mind which. Neither of the tractors was sporting a front loader attachment, although I understand the John Deere will take a front loader. I've gone with front loader attachments on this when I bought it. Plus, from experience, British farms tend to have very small yard areas or places that are difficult to get into, and as such I kind of prefer to have a small tractor that I can get in and out of tight places and use to park up equipment. Something I did on law folds. I think I abandoned things like the seeder and the cultivator and the plough out in the open, and I used a much smaller tractor to park them in the sheds. Because the smaller tractors are just more agile. There was one farm on Farm Sim 17, it was so tight. I looked at it and I decided I wasn't going to play it, but I did consider that if I was going to play it, I'd probably get a Lintrack, because it's a tiny four-wheel steering tractor, and you can get that in places you can't get most other tractors. It's, yeah, I've done a, what were the formats? There's the Alpine thing, there's the logging farm, there's this one. Oh, New Bartleshaven. I haven't, or something like that. I didn't look at that one either yet. I'm not. I don't know that I'm going to bother at this point. I probably should. You know, first looks tend to get a lot of views. I'm not doing a strict first look where, yeah, we just drive around the map and look at stuff and say, well, there's the map, have fun with it. I'm kind of doing let's play a day or thereabouts, and yeah, let's look at what we're given. The equipment, you know, is what we've been given in equipment an ideal setup or not? I mean, that's something, you know, with Ravenport. I probably wouldn't have got a a case 7210 ever, but they gave us two. Is it the case? Yeah, the 72 Pro Series. I probably would never have considered this tractor, primarily because there's no front loader attachment, and I like to have the option of having a front loader attachment on at least one of my starting tractors. So it's kind of, yeah, probably wouldn't have picked it. However, as a medium tractor, it's fairly cheap and has a good engine range, so it's a great starting tractor. But they give you two on Ravenport, and it's sort of, I don't need two, I need one. And then they give you a Fiat, which to my mind has very little in the way of redeeming features. And yeah, I'd prefer to have, say, the Favorite 150C, because I can put 150 horsepower engine in it, I can put front loader on it, and it costs me less than 100,000. And so, yeah, given that, I would, yeah, first thing to do is sell one of the cases after you've cultivated and planted all the fields that you start with. Sell the Fiat almost immediately, because it's, yeah, it doesn't add anything useful that you can't get out of the case. And then get yourself a small tractor with a front loader. I think the first time I did I started a playthrough on Ravenport, and went with the Valtra N, which is a good starting tractor, but I'm bad. It's my go-to starting tractor, so I tend not to experience a lot of other tractors. But anyway, I started with that, but unfortunately the game save got messed up. I started it before patch 1.2 came out, and when 1.2 came out I did some landscaping, and my landscaping has completely got messed up, and so I killed that game and restarted it. And second time out, my small tractor I went with was the Massey Ferguson, the little 5600. Consequently, when it came to this map and I wanted a small starting tractor, I've already used the Massey Ferguson, so I decided, well, let's play with the little Fend. I don't want to go with the Favorite 150, although I think it is a better tractor than this one, because this one costs more, doesn't have as good an engine size. But I've used the 150 a couple of times in multiplayer, so I didn't want to. Yeah, let's go with different stuff. Tried the armour track. I wasn't particularly impressed with that. Another manufacturer I tend not to use is the the steer series. I should probably take a look at that. And after the last couple of weeks in before Farm Sim 19 came out, a little bit sad you can't get the Hurleman T4i. I did a very quick pair of YouTube videos. One was how I start an FS17 farm. So take the starting equipment, what do I want, what do I need, what are my goals on the game, if you're going to go, are you going to go agriculture, are you going to go animal, make a decision and buy equipment that supports your decision. Well, I did that starting equipment on Old Stream Farm, and then after I did that, the following week I did let's do Old Stream Farm with seasons, and what difference is between a regular start and a season start. And the thing about a season start is you're not going to have the income that you can have on a regular start, because all the fields are need ploughed, need planted, and consequently, is that 4 rows? You're not going to have any income until fall. And in Farm Sim 17, you started with $10,000, pounds, euros, and that's not going to get you very far, especially not if you want to fertilise the fields and buy some seed. So, in that situation, you sell the harvester, because I don't need that till fall. You sell a bunch of other equipment, and typically I'll sell all of the tractors and buy one that is far more versatile, a little bit more horsepower, a little bit more basically a little bit more horsepower, but has a front and rear power attach and front loader option, because I am only going to have one tractor on a farm that size, at least until the second year, when I can say, okay, now I've got some income, now I can afford to expand the equipment I'm using. With Old Stream, there's a lot of grass fields, so you don't have mowing equipment to start off. Heck, I'm going to sell the harvester and buy mowers and rakes and tedders and balers, or a loading wagon, anything to move grass so I can sell it. And for that 1 week playthrough, I picked the Hurleman T4i, because I had never over 2 years played a Hurleman on a farm, and it's a good starting tractor, and not available in 19, which is a bit of a shame. I mean, for a tiny farm, this Fendt is a good starting tractor. If I'm limiting myself to sort of 3 metre equipment, 1.5 metre ploughs, that type of thing, and the fields are far smaller than they are on this map, it's a good little potter around. You can get narrow wheels, wide wheels, wheels with weights, and a front loader, and you can fit a mower on the front and a loading wagon on the back and go and collect some grass if you need to. But for a farm this size, this is not a good starting tractor, because you need the bigger equipment. So I need a tractor that's got 280 horsepower or thereabouts, and for that you're talking, they give you the John Deere as a starting farmer, so I didn't see any problem with keeping it. My personal opinion is, for what you get, a John Deere is kind of overpriced. But hey, if you're going to give one to me, I'll keep it, because I'm not going to get something as good if I sell the John Deere and buy something different. Yeah, what am I going to get? Let's unload that, pull forward and lower it. What have we got? Let's see, we've got a John Deere 6R, which is right there. Comes with the base 280 horsepower, maximum, that one, 300. But the base model is costing me 228. Okay, well, this is $40,000 cheaper. What options have I got? 225 horsepower. We can bump it up to 270. That puts it, I can get. It's in the mid 200s range. I could go 245. That's probably adequate. I can put a front loader on it. It's got full sets of wheels. This is, to my mind, as capable as the 6R and cheaper. So that's a mod, yeah. Fence 700. See, now this one's only 165 horsepower. That's a little bit low, and even biggest engine's 240. So I'm struggling to keep up with that. Plus, putting the biggest engine on it puts it 10,000 cheaper than that, and it's still not got the. Yeah, that's 280 horsepower. It's not got the engine capacity. But it's all choices. So what am I going to do now? Let's go grab some of those bales off the field and sell them. I'm going to grab the straw bale. Got a straw bale here because I had about 160 litres of straw in the baler. There it is. Total pain, because we then filled it up with grass, but for Farm Sim 19 the baler takes the first thing you put in it as the bale type it's trying to produce. So you could bale, well, you could load a baler with 100 litres of hay and then fill it up with grass, and you're going to get a hay bale. If you do it the other way round and do 165 litres of grass and then go and fill it up with hay, you get a grass bale. And Farm Sim 17 did it the other way round. It was the last thing you put in the baler was what you ended up with. There we go. Okay, let's go to the barn.